how you do a refinance. How does a refinance work, okay, in practice? Because before it, you know, I wasn't sure. It seemed a bit mysterious. What is a process? How does it work? How do you just get money from a lender, like free money, because your property's gone up? Like, what are the exchanges that are taking place? What are the steps? Let's talk about it, okay? So let's start with step one. Step by step, guys. Let's make it real simple, okay? You want to check that the value of your property has actually increased over a given amount of time. How do I do that? Well, let's take a look at Rightmove sold house prices. So let's say you owned a flat, I don't know, Glazebrook Close, Dulwich. I've literally chosen that at random. What you want to do is go onto Rightmove sold properties and look for, ideally, the same type of property as yours as sold in the last, let's say, 3 years. So say you had a 2-bed flat right now and you're living in Glazebrook Close. Hop on here and look at what 2 beds have sold for in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, ideally within the last 12 months, because that's going to give you the most accurate idea of what your property could sell for. So let's say you had a 2-bed flat on Glazebrook Close. You know immediately from this that within the last 12 months, a 2-bed has sold for £415,000. Let's see if there's any other 2 beds. That doesn't say. Okay, another 2-bed sold in March 2023 for 376. That looks slightly different to this. Let's see this one. Let's see the pictures. And yeah, go through the pictures and be like, how many rooms has it got? What's the layout? So this is a flat in a block, okay? And you've even got a floor plan there. So let's say you had a flat in this block or one of the blocks next to it. You know that this is basically the same flat as yours. You know that it sold for £415,000 recently. That gives you an idea. Let's say you bought it 10 years ago for, I don't know, £350,000. Now you know, hey, my property has potentially gone up by round about £65,000. You might be conservative and say, okay, you know, maybe it's not the full £65,000, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 55. I don't know, but you know that your property has gone up in value because one has recently sold. That is very similar to yours. So that's step one. Get an idea, use that resource, Rightmove sold house prices. Now what you want to do is contact a broker. I've explained at the beginning of this video why it's key to use a broker. So contact a broker, okay, and tell them that you think your property has risen and you would like to release some equity. And then they'll start rubbing their hands together because that is business for them. They're going to get a fee from either yourself or the lender or both. They're going to be like, oh, okay, Mr. Smith, that sounds really good. Now they're going to start asking you some questions. They're going to put some time in your diary and it will take probably around 15-20 minutes, and I'll say, well, what are you looking for in terms of your mortgage product? Do you want a fixed rate? How many years do you want that fixed rate? Do you want it for 2 years, 5 years, 7 years? Do you want a variable rate, okay, instead of a fixed rate? Would you like early repayment fees on that product, or would you not like early repayment fees? So that gives you the option to remortgage basically, or repay chunks of it without paying any fees for that. Would you like to add the product fees to your mortgage? Would you like to pay them up front? You need to have an idea, okay, of all of this before speaking to them. But those are the key questions really that you're going to be asked on that initial phone call. They're also going to ask you what your current deal is. So you're going to have a current mortgage on your property, so they'll ask you who your lender is, what the rate is, when it expires, what your current rent is that you're getting on your property. That's going to be really key because they're going to look at stuff like interest coverage ratio. You know, is a rent that you're currently getting going to be enough to cover that? Because that's a key criteria for mortgage lenders. Okay, so they'll go away and they'll do some research and they'll come back to you in a few days with some options. And they'll say, look, I found these 5 deals, but I think this one is best for you based on what you said to me in terms of, you know, what type of mortgage you want, in terms of what kind of rate you want, in terms of what kind of product you want, how long you want it to be for. They'll ask you what term you'd want. Do you want 25 years? Do you want 20 years? And they'll make a recommendation, and then you'll talk through that on the phone. Your broker is also going to ask you to provide them with some bits of information, okay? They're going to ask you to send them work contract, your recent pay slips, your recent tax return. They're going to ask you for a copy of your current tenancy agreement, and they're going to ask you for a breakdown of your budget and your monthly spend. So if you're not the type of person that budgets and knows what you're spending month to month, time to get on top of that, because they're going to go through it in detail really to find out how much money you have left at the end of the month, because that's very important in terms of like your credit worthiness and your credit risk. And they're also going to do a credit check on you. So let's assume that the mortgage offer, the mortgage product that the broker has found is good. You say yes. The next stage is for the lender, the mortgage lender, to underwrite the actual mortgage and give you a formal offer. So what you've gotten at this stage is a recommendation and an illustration from the broker. They've matched you up with a potential product out there. Now it's time for the mortgage lender to step in and do their due diligence. So the formal mortgage offer, in terms of underwriting it, has, you know, a few main components. That is a valuation. I talked about the valuation of this Sheffield property. They're going to come and value the property and make sure that it's worth what you think it is. Sometimes they've literally go to the house and do that. Sometimes they just drive past it, do a desktop valuation. Sometimes they do it based off of information that's out there on various systems, right? Depends. They'll do some title checks and some other stuff. And then if that all goes well, they'll give you a full offer. Then you get the full offer. That's going to be a mortgage offer. It's going to be all of the stuff that the broker went through as part of the recommendations. And they can go through the term, the interest rate you'll be paying, how much you're going to be borrowing, the fees involved, etc., etc. And you'll get a date, completion date, at which you'll switch over to this new mortgage. As part of that, as we alluded to at the beginning, if your property's gone up in value and release in equity, on that date, you will get a lump sum into your bank account. So whatever your current mortgage is, the amount over and above that the new lender has agreed to lend you, that is what you're going to get into your bank account tax-free, guys. And that's how equity release works. That is the process of remortgaging, refinance. Now, there's several words for it, but it's all the same process. That's how it works in practice. Any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching. This year, I'm making a video every month to answer any questions that you have for me. So whether you want to know whether you should invest in a limited company or in your own name, whether you should buy a flat or a house, what is the best way to get started in property, or who my barber is, just let me know. You can ask me in the comment section below, on Instagram, on TikTok, and I'll make a video dedicated to your questions. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.